Hi everyone, welcome to Nareen's Life with MS. I am Nareen over here, and it's time for a Soulful Saturday. I know this one's a little late. Last night I'm at my cousin's house, and I was watching Stranger Things, and that went on for a pretty long time. So as a result, I wasn't able to uh, you know, record this. But here I am now, and of course, we will get to recording Soulful Saturday. I actually want this to be a continuation of what I discussed in my Thoughtful Thursday, which was all about whether or not you are open to the idea of sharing your status, right? Especially when it comes to your medical status and how you want to do it. So this Soulful Saturday, the one thing I wanted to talk about was, how do you, if you are in the I thought of sharing, your status, what do you end up doing? A lot of times what ends up happening with me is that because I'm pretty visible now, there were times when I was invisible, and during those times I would pretty much ensure that I tell people not only that I have my medical condition, but also what are some of the pitfalls that I go through on a day-to-day basis, right? I'm susceptible to maybe falling, sometimes tripping over my own feet. What happens when I get tired. So those were some things that I would tell people, but then I would also tell them that because I am still a pretty active person, I do have the ability to be available to do certain things. Of course, I remember there was one time, and this was way back in, I think, 2012, when I was in Ghana and I was doing some volunteering over there. And there was something where I had to climb a water tank to kind of drill a hole into the water tank so that we could put the pipe from the rainwater harvester into the tank. And that I found that maybe I could not do. And it wasn't that there wasn't enough space, I just did not want to create a bigger issue in the case that I might have fallen from the tank. And knowing that I had one of those things where I tend to fall quite often and tended to definitely twist my ankles. I bowed out from that experience. But I'm pretty sure for whomever who did it, they definitely enjoyed being on the water tank, making sure that the pipe entered the water tank. And of course, as at least as I know it, that project was a success. So I'm pretty sure everyone did enjoy their time, and we actually were successful. But with that being said, now that I'm a lot more visible, there is very little that I do have to share regarding the fact that I have a medical condition. I just have to tell them that this is happening. But usually, the way I end up doing is to try and put, not, I won't say a positive spin, but I would always put a spin where I am generally on the happier side, if that makes sense. Where you know it's just one of the things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Not that I you know not that it's affecting my life in so many negative ways. That's for someone else to pretty much figure out, as I like to think. So that is what I do. And now I want to turn it over to you. So if you do end up discussing your medical condition with someone else, how do you do it, and how are you able to sustain whichever mentality you're coming from about sharing your medical condition. This I do want to know, because a lot of times I do want to have conversations with people and see what their outlook is when they, end up sharing their medical condition. And with that said, I do want to say thank you so much for watching this. I hope your Saturday went very well, or is going very well. I know there are certain places where it's nighttime right now, most likely in the Western Hemisphere. So, yes, I do hope that your Saturday is going very well. And with that said, my name is Naren. This is Naren's Life with MS. And I hope you do share your comments so that we can get the conversation started. Thanks.